Today we're going to go ahead and talk about mask and channels, most specifically layer mask and channels, and they are kind of magic. So I decided to go ahead and start out with the image of a wizard here. So we have our wizard here. And since in Photoshop we like to work kind of non-destructively and make sure that we don't do anything that we would regret, is that we're going to go ahead and copy our wizard layer here. So I'm just going to use Command J to copy our wizard layer here. And now I've got my wizard copy layer that I'm working on. I'm going to go ahead and make my original wizard layer invisible, just so I don't get confused with the image being below the wizard copy. Okay, now that I've done that, is I can go ahead and I've cheated a little bit here, and I've already saved the selection of the wizard out so that I can go ahead and load that up. So I'll just come up here to my select menu. I'll do load selection, and I'll choose my wizard selection. I'll hit OK. And now you can see that we've got the marching ants around the outside of our wizard. Of course, in your case, you might have had to gone around with a lasso tool or a quick selection tool or whatever to go ahead and select that wizard out from the background. And then once you have that him selected out from the background, is that you could go ahead and invert your selection. Hit Command Shift I, and then you would know your selection is inverted because you see the marching ants around the outside of your document there. And then you'd hit delete, and that would get rid of all the background there, and so that you could composite it over a different image in the background. So we'll go ahead and we'll make a castle appear here. So now we've got our wizard standing in front of our castle here, and you can see that if we look at this thumbnail here, is that we've cut out our wizard and we've got transparency all around it. And if we wanted to go back to our original image, we would have to just go back to that layer. Well, one of the things that we can do is once we make a selection is that we can just create what is called as a channel mask. So I'm going to go ahead and reinvert my selection here. And the real beauty of these channel masks is that they are not destructive. So if I have my original wizard layer here and I want to apply a channel mask to it, it's not going to destroy any of my original image, and I can step back to it at any time. So I'll come down here to the bottom of my Windows panel, my layers panel, and I'll click on the create layer mask icon here. And so again, that did the exact same thing as I did before, and except that it's just added this little black and white image over here to the right of my original image, and you'll see that it's chained together with that image. And so that basically took that selection and turned it into a layer mask. And how it did that is it actually added a channel to our colors here. So if we come over here and we look at our channels panel here, and we come down here to wizard mask, and I'll just go ahead and turn everything else off, is that now we have this black and white image of the mask of our wizard. And so anything that is white is opaque and shows through our image, and then anything that is black is transparent and shows through to the background. It's almost if you took a piece of paper and cut it out in the shape of your wizard, and so that you could see through the black area to the background. And then you went and you pasted your image of your wizard onto your little cutout here in the white foreground area, and it would stay there. So if we go back to our layers panel, and we've got our original wizard image, and it's got a layer mask attached to it. And so I can just click on that, and now we can see that. Well, one of the magic things that we can do is we can actually paint onto these layer mask to make our image transparent or opaque. So I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate this layer. So I'm working on wizard copy 2 here. And I'm going to go ahead and make wizard invisible here. And so that we've got our wizard and we're working on the background copy. Now another thing that we can do is that we can bring our selection back at any time from a layer mask. So if I go onto this layer mask and I right click on it and I go to add mask to selection, is now that I've selected my wizard area here. And now if I want to take my wizard and I want to make him semi-invisible, put a cloak of invisibility, which is my favorite analogy about using these layer masks, is that I can go over here and I'm going to go over to my color picker, and if I want to make something completely transparent, so for example if I wanted to go ahead and shoot my wizard with a shotgun, and I could just do that by getting a really big brush here and making it really hard. I make sure that I've got black selected as my foreground color, and I make sure that I've got my layer mask selected within the layers panel, and I can tell that I've got that selected because it gets a little bracket around that and not around the thumbnail of the original image, so that I'm working on that mask. So I can come over here and I can kind of blast the wizard in the chest there, and we can see through that it's kind of magical. Now if I wanted to magically heal him back up again, I would just simply go ahead and select white as my foreground color here and paint back over that area, and now the white makes that opaque again. Now if I wanted to make him ghostly or semi-transparent, is all I have to do is I can come over here to my color picker here, and I'll go ahead and choose a medium gray there, and I've got my big brush here, and I'm going to go ahead and soften it out just a little bit so it looks more ghostly. And I've got my selection area, so that means I'm not going to be destroying any of the black out here in this area. So I'm just going to be painting gray into the white area of the mask. And so when I do that, you can see that it makes my wizard kind of disappear. It's just like my cloak of invisibility. And so I can come up here and I can completely make him almost disappear. There, and he's very ghostly and showing through on the background. But if I wanted to have him look through his cloak of invisibility and look back out with his eyes, again I'll go ahead and I'll change my foreground color back to white again. Then I'll go ahead and I'll make my brush a little bit smaller here so I can highlight his eyes, make it a little bit harder here, and I can have him look out of the cloak here by just simply painting white there. So if I wanted to go ahead and make him completely visible again, all I'd have to do is make sure that I have my white selected as my foreground color, and I'll just go make a really huge brush here, and then I can come over here, well, not that huge. All right, and then I can simply come in here and I can paint white up here again, and there he is magically appearing. Okay, I hope the wizard was able to help you understand our layer mask and our channels a little bit better.